We've got our first Bears schedule leak for the 2026 NFL season. How about a little Turkey Day ball? This is Chicago Bears Now. We are presented by PrizePicks. My name is Harrison Graham. First announced game for the Bears. Thanksgiving action against the Detroit Lions. It'll be Ben Johnson's second trip back to Ford Field since leaving a couple of off seasons ago. Obviously, the Bears went 0-2 against the Lions last year, so I know he's going to want to get that turned around this season. Thanksgiving is going to be fun. I mean, Wednesday night, you got Packers-Rams. You got this game. You got Cowboys-Eagles in the afternoon game. As of now, don't know the night game or Black Friday yet, but clearly the NFL is continuing to lean into good games here. We know Detroit's always on Thanksgiving, but Bears-Lions, where have we seen that before? Last time this happened, it was the Eberflus meltdown, so hopefully it's a little bit better this time around. I'm certainly excited for it. Speaking of the schedule release, we will be going live for it on Thursday night. 7 o'clock Central is when the schedule drops. We'll probably go live at 6:30 at the latest. If the full schedule leaks before then, we'll have the full video on that as well. But we'll still go live and react with all of you. So hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications. I had already filmed a full schedule-related video, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Bears Now is presented by PrizePicks. My name is Harrison Graham. So let's do a little schedule talk here. So 7 o'clock Central Thursday night is when the league drops the schedule, and all 32 teams should drop their own individual schedules. Sometimes teams drag their feet, but the Bears have been pretty good about it. Projected win totals have been out for a while. That could change a little bit based on the week-to-week schedule for some teams, so we'll see. And look, on paper, the Bears are projected to have one of the toughest schedules according to Strength of Schedule, and there's a couple different metrics that people use to project that stuff. And look, it is going to be tough in all likelihood, and on paper it is tough. Now, I always say sometimes things don't play out the way you think. A team that's supposed to be good may not be as good. 2024 we talked about, Bears were supposed to have one of the easiest schedules, ended up being one of the toughest ones in the NFL. So sometimes things change, so keep that in mind. Now, a lot of the challenges with this schedule are you play 7 playoff teams from last year, and obviously your own division only includes one of those, and that's the Packers, who you play twice. But I think we all think Detroit's good. I think we all think Minnesota is very capable. On your home slate, you've got 4 teams that made the playoffs a year ago in Green Bay, Philadelphia, Jacksonville, and New England, all projected to win 9.5 or more games. Tampa is a capable team. I think the Saints, have a chance to be decent as well. Obviously, Detroit didn't make the playoffs, and they're projected to win 10.5 games. So the road slate, obviously got Green Bay again as a playoff team. Buffalo and Seattle on the road. That's pretty challenging. I mean, you're hoping to split those realistically. Atlanta, Carolina, Miami, those are games that, hopefully you take care of. Carolina was a playoff team, but kind of a fluky playoff team at 8-9 last year. So based on a couple of different things, the Bears 2026 strength of schedule, if it's based on opponent win percentage from a year ago, toughest in the league, hardest schedule in the NFL. That's not great. If it's based on projected win totals for this upcoming season, 6th toughest. So still not easy, right? And again, like I said earlier, things can change. You never know. But in all likelihood, especially playing in the NFC North, this is going to be a challenging schedule. Now, Warren Sharp, who broke it down based on projected win totals this year. He said, projected win totals incorporate current information about team strength, including offseason acquisition, injuries, and coaching changes. These projections are crafted by sportsbooks aiming to predict future performance, making them more reflective of a team's current capabilities. While no strength of schedule metric is perfect, using Vegas win totals provides a better indication of what teams could look like in the upcoming season than relying on the previous year's wins. We know that certain teams will benefit from luck factors in games next season, such as fumble recoveries, opponent field goal misses, flip passes that results in interceptions, red zone variance. But with current projected win totals, the pure luck factors that decide games are not incorporated. In other words, this is a lot of mumbo-jumbo, data-driven work that gives you a baseline, a projection. It's certainly not a perfect science. Sometimes projected good teams don't do well or have a serious injury or something happens, right? So you can't predict for for the unpredictable, if you will, but it is a decent baseline to go off of. Now, in the NFC North, the more or less projected win totals are as follows, and this is how I have it. Green Bay, I think less than 10.5. They feel like a 9 or 10 win team to me. When's Micah coming back? We'll see. Detroit, very easy schedule on paper. They're playing a fourth-place NFC schedule. They got the Cardinals. They've got, I think it's the Falcons. They got some pretty easy games. The Bears, I got more than 9.5 wins. Tough schedule, but I just think this team's going to be good. I think they can get to 10. And then I went less on Minnesota, 8.5. I had them right at 8 when I went through their schedule, but we'll have to wait and see how it all plays out. So more or less, PrizePicks style, the Bears will win 9.5 games in 2026. That's where they're projected right now. Type M for more or L for less down in the comment section below. We do want to shout out PrizePicks for sponsoring today's show. They are the kings of more or less. Daily fantasy sports, you select more or less on stat projections, 2 to 6 player lineups. But it's not just daily fantasy sports. They also have team picks, culture picks, where you can get in on other things as well. And if you go to the team picks section specifically, you can get in on the win totals action. You can pick if the Bears are going to win more than 9 games, more than 10 games, etc. If you select Chicago more than 10 wins, it's a 1.8x payout right now. $20 entry to win $36. So if you're confident they're going to win 10 or more games, I think that's a pretty good play right there. I've submitted that. You can as well. A lot of different things you can do on PrizePicks. It's the best place to make money while watching sports. So download the PrizePicks app today. Use code HMA when you play your first $5 lineup. Now that's daily fantasy only, not the team picks. That's the player picks only. To get $50 in player picks lineups, that is code HMA when you play your first $5 lineup to get an extra $50 in lineups with PrizePicks. Clickable link to download the app is in the comments and description of this video. Okay, it's not all doom and gloom. I do want to make that clear. Because number one, I think the Bears are a good team. So you're playing a first-place schedule. Well, it's because you're a good team. You have 9 home games this year. For the first time in 3 years, you will play 9 games at Soldier Field. Because remember, in 2024, when you had 9 home games, one of those was in London against the Jags. So this is the first time in a while that you're playing 9 games at home. You get, obviously, your divisional games. New England and Jacksonville, who were both good last year, you get them at home. Philadelphia, who's good, you get them at home. That's a good thing. The Jets, that's got to be a layup. You got to win that game. Saints and Bucks could be sneaky, but you get them at home. I like your chances against those teams, especially if it's later in the year. Those are NFC South teams. If they have to come up and play in weather elements, you definitely like your chances. On the road, divisional games, but you get Atlanta on the road. They could be bad. Carolina, I'm kind of down on. Miami, as long as you don't have to play them in September, that should be a layup. They're in a complete rebuild mode. Buffalo and Seattle, really hard games, right? Like if you split those, you'd be thrilled. So I think that's what you got to be shooting for with those 2 games. But you get 9 games at home and some winnable ones as well. Okay, number 2, no international games. I like international games. They're fun. I'm all for it. But if you're playing a tough schedule on paper, it's ideal when you don't have to go across the pond, especially in the middle of the season. It can throw off your sleep stuff for a few days. Remember a couple years ago, Bears went and kicked Jacksonville's ass in London, even had the bye week after, 4-2. Season collapsed after that. Now, I'm not saying it's solely because of that. They clearly just never recovered from the Hail Mary loss to Washington. But it's a different ordeal when you're going across the pond and playing in one of these games. So I do think from just like a routine factor, it is advantageous when you don't have to play international. Okay, 6 very gettable games are on the schedule. And we just showed the home and road games. But to me, these 6 games, 3 of them at home, 3 of them on the road, are very gettable. Now, again, I'll say it for the millionth time. Teams sometimes are better than expected. Teams sometimes are worse than expected. But to me, on paper, the New York Jets, they're a year or 2 away still. Like, sure, they're going to play hard, all that stuff. Every team does. But that's a team that could be really bad. You catch them late in the year, by the way, they could be tanking. The Saints, I do think they'll be an improved team, but you get them at home. On paper, that's a team you should beat. Tampa Bay, I'm down on the Bucs this year. I think that's a very winnable game at home. At Atlanta, does Tua or Michael Penix put any fear into you? They don't for me. They didn't have a first-round pick. They're kind of in a transition year. On the road, that's a very gettable road game. At Carolina, very gettable road game. And then at Miami, unless it's 110 degrees and you play them in week 2, that's a game you should win. And even then, I would still pick them to beat the Dolphins. That's one of the worst teams in the NFL on paper. You win 4 or more of those games, ideally 5. You go 5-1 in those 6, you're halfway home. You're halfway home to 10 wins. Like 5 of those 6, 3-3 in the division, that gets you to 8. Find a couple more. You get to 10, you're probably making the playoffs. So, you kind of start piecing this together, and obviously we'll be able to do it more when you get the week-by-week schedule Thursday night, 7 o'clock. But you can find segments of the schedule where, it's hard, but there are going to be some very, very winnable games that you should feel confident in winning. Okay, and then, I don't know how much it matters, but especially over the course of a season, it doesn't hurt. You have the third least air mileage this year. That was released. The projected air miles traveled for all 32 teams. Obviously, when you're in the central time zone, that's advantageous, but this also gets back to not having an international game. Bears are 30th. Only 10,000 air miles traveled this year. You have 9 home games. That helps. You're in the central time zone. That helps. No international games. All that stuff helps. So, again, tough opponents, but you're playing at home a lot. You're not traveling a ton. You're in the middle of the country, so coast to coast isn't as egregious. Chef's kiss. That's definitely a nice little thing for the Bears' schedule this year, and most years, to be honest, because you're sitting in the central time zone. That's definitely an advantage. Here's the bottom line, guys. First of all this stuff is fun. The schedule's fun. I'm excited to break it down with you guys. And it probably won't be easy. You're playing a first-place schedule in arguably the toughest division in the NFL. That's challenging. But you drew the NFC South. Not a tough division. More than half your schedule's at home. You're not flying all over the place. And if this team is good, like we think it is, they're going to win games. You have a young, ascending football team that should be better than last year. You may not win as many games as last year. You may not go from 11 to 14 wins or something like that. But I still think you can be in that 10 to 12 win range because you should be better overall from year 1 to year 2 under Ben Johnson. So exciting stuff. Don't forget this either. When you play teams matters almost as much as who you play. Like 2 years ago, I was like, they're going to beat the Rams at home. Why? Because their whole team's hurt. Like, things happen throughout the course of the season you can't project in May, right? Like, we're going to go week by week and do our silly record prediction that we always do. But, I can't predict, actually, Trevor Lawrence is injured this week, and the Bears are facing C.J. Beathard, or who the hell is the backup quarterback calling? Nick Mullins, right? These things pop up. So when you play teams, you catch them on a short week or vice versa, that matters a lot. And so we'll dive into the nuts and bolts of those things as much as we can when the schedule drops. And obviously when the season gets here and injuries pop up, those things will factor in as well. All right, subscribe and join us here on Chicago Bears Now. The schedule release one more time, Thursday night, 7 o'clock Central Time. We are going to be here for it. Probably go live 6 or 6:30. Could depend on if or when the Bears schedule leaks out. It usually does. The Bears are a team that usually gets it leaked. So if it does, we'll break that down as well. My name is Harrison Graham. See you guys soon.